Catching your fingernail on a protruding screw isn't just a slip of the hand. It is a violent mechanical shear that forces your fingertip into immediate biological failure. Within milliseconds, the unyielding metal edge converts minor kinetic energy into a catastrophic tearing force that instantly hijacks your entire central nervous system. The secret to this extreme agony lies in basic structural engineering. Your fingernail is a dense, multi-layered plate of hard alpha keratin. When an external object catches the free edge of the nail, it transforms the rigid plate into a mechanical lever arm, multiplying the incoming kinetic force directly beneath the nail bed. Beneath the hard keratin plate lies the subungual space, a delicate layer of soft epithelial tissue. As the screw lifts the edge, it creates extreme tensile stress along a horizontal cleavage plane. The nail plate is forcibly pried upward, exceeding the ultimate shear strength of the underlying soft tissue. The nail bed is bound directly to the underlying bone by thousands of microscopic collagen anchoring fibers. As the lever arm forces the nail plate upward, these structural cables are stretched beyond their elastic limit. They snap in rapid succession, tearing the living nail matrix completely away from its bony foundation. This violent mechanical disruption creates a high-energy kinetic shockwave that sweeps across the entire fingertip. As cell membranes are ripped open across the nail bed, thousands of microscopic vascular and neural connections are severed, triggering the body's most sensitive biological alarm system, the instant activation of high-threshold digital nociceptors. Human nail bed is one of the most densely innervated structures on the entire body, packed with specialized nociceptive free nerve endings. Positioned directly beneath the protective keratin shield, these sensory nerve fibers are calibrated specifically to detect immediate mechanical trauma and signal critical biological emergency to the brain. Under normal conditions, these nerve fibers maintain a quiet electrical charge. But as the nail plate tears away, the mechanical tension deforms the neuronal cell membrane, forcing specialized tension-sensitive ion channels, known as piezo-2 receptors, to violently pop open. This structural breach instantly destabilizes the cell's internal electrical state. The moment these ion gates open, a massive influx of positively charged sodium and calcium ions floods the interior of the nerve cell. This sudden electrical shift causes rapid depolarization, spiking the internal voltage past its critical firing threshold and generating a high-velocity action potential, a biological spark of pure electricity. This initial flash of sharp pain travels along thick, insulated nerve lines called A-delta fibers. Protected by a dense myelin sheath, these biological cables fire electrical signals at speeds exceeding 30 meters per second, ensuring the emergency warning message reaches your spinal cord long before you consciously comprehend the damage. As the high-voltage impulse travels up the arm, it routes straight through the main digital nerve trunks. Bypassing conscious muscle control, the signal blasts through the brachial plexus and heads directly for the cervical spine, where an automated spinal emergency protocol is waiting to execute an immediate physical rescue. At the dorsal horn of the cervical spinal cord, the pain signal hits a high-speed interneuron junction. Waiting for your brain to process the event and decide on a reaction would take over 200 milliseconds. To prevent further physical destruction, the spinal cord takes total control through a local reflex arc. In a fraction of a millisecond, the interneuron redirects the electrical command straight into alpha motor neurons. Bypassing your conscious mind entirely, this high-voltage command instructs the flexor muscles of the forearm to contract instantly, initiating the nociceptive flexor withdrawal reflex, an involuntary biological emergency escape maneuver. The flexor muscles of the forearm contract at maximum force, snatching your hand backward and away from the screw in under 50 milliseconds. But violently retracting your upper limb while holding a tool creates a secondary physical dilemma. The sudden motion causes a rapid shift in your upper body balance. To stabilize your upper body during this explosive jerk, the spinal cord simultaneously triggers antagonist postural reflexes. As the injured arm retracts, the opposite shoulder and core muscles tense instantly, preventing your torso from twisting wildly and absorbing the violent recoil generated by the sudden escape maneuver. This rapid, involuntary recoil clears your hand from the hazard, but the damage to the nail is already done. The violent retraction leaves the partially avulsed nail plate hanging open, exposing the hypersensitive, raw matrix beneath to the ambient atmosphere and setting off the next phase of trauma. Beneath the nail bed lies an extraordinarily rich vascular network, including specialized temperature-regulating structures called glomus bodies. As the nail plate tears away, hundreds of these microscopic blood vessels are ripped open. Microcapillaries burst instantly, spilling arterial blood directly into the freshly created subungual cavity. As blood pours into the tight space beneath the remaining nail plate, it forms a rapidly expanding subungual hematoma. hematoma. Trapped beneath the unyielding keratin, the pooling fluid has nowhere to go. Internal tissue pressure spikes, squeezing surviving nerve endings and converting local vascular bleeding into severe mechanical compression. Within seconds of cell destruction, damaged tissue releases a potent chemical cocktail, known as the inflammatory soup. Molecules of histamine, bradykinin, and prostaglandins flood the injury site. This chemical wave binds to surrounding intact nerve endings, dramatically lowering their activation threshold and rendering the entire fingertip hypersensitive to touch. With the protective nail plate removed and the nerve endings bathed in inflammatory chemicals, the fingertip enters a state of primary hyperalgesia. The raw nail bed is now so sensitized that even a gentle breeze or subtle shift in air temperature triggers a barrage of intense, burning pain signals. As the initial sharp shock from the A-delta fibers fades, a secondary pain pathway takes control. Unmyelinated C fibers, which conduct signals at a sluggish 1 to 2 meters per second, begin firing rhythmically. This chemical-driven signal transforms the sharp shock into that deep, agonizing, throbbing wave synced perfectly with your heartbeat. When these pain signals reach the brain, they are mapped by the primary somatosensory cortex. In this internal neural map, the sensory homunculus, the hands and fingertips occupy an enormous amount of brain space. The brain receives a massive, disproportionate flood of sensory data, magnifying the perception of agony exponentially. Blunt compression on normal skin allows soft fat tissue to deform and absorb energy, but a shear force applied under the nail margin turns a flat keratin plate into an unyielding wedge. The mechanical force bypasses the body's natural shock absorbers, directing kinetic energy directly into delicate, non-compressible tissue layers. Beneath the destroyed nail bed lies the periosteum, the hypersensitive membrane covering the distal phalanx bone. With the nail plate ripped away, this bone covering is left completely exposed to external mechanical stress, risking permanent scarring to the germinal matrix and interfering with future nail growth mechanics. What feels like a simple, accidental slip is actually a brutal biomechanical cascade. Mechanical lever advantage, instantaneous ion channel depolarization, involuntary cervical reflex execution, and an expanding subungual pressure surge, all executed in under 100 milliseconds by a simple slip against a protruding thread of steel. Whether the nail regenerates normally depends entirely on the survival of the germinal matrix located near the cuticle. If the mechanical tear destroys these specialized stem cells, the nail plate will forever grow deformed, serving as a permanent structural marker of a high-velocity mechanical avulsion event. So the next time your fingernail snags on a loose screw, remember, it isn't just pain. It is your body's survival mechanics operating at peak physiological capacity against a basic principle of mechanical physics. Subscribe to Biomechanics Studio for surgical-grade biomechanical breakdowns.